All right, guys, welcome to the first ever episode of What's It Like? And on this podcast, we bring in people from our family who have unique experiences that have impacted them in special ways. And our first guest on the show, or on the podcast, is Avi Pyers. Avi, how you doing?
Hi, guys. I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for being here. So Avi, just give us a quick, what's your age, high school, and then something funny about you.
Okay, I'm Avi Pyers. I'm 17. I'm a senior at Mesquite High School. Something funny about me. One time I was skiing and I crashed into a ski lift pole. I was like maybe 9. And then one of my legs was shorter than the other for like a good year and we didn't know why.
Shorter than the other. Okay.
Uh-huh.
But
Funny.
now it's all leveled out.
Yeah, it's all good. I don't know
You're
how,
good.
but it's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you play any sports, anything like that?
I played the past 2 years. I played swim and dive, basketball, and softball, but I'm just doing swim and dive this year.
Okay,
So,
that's
yeah.
awesome. So I heard you had a very eventful summer. You were in the Bahamas. So let's just start off. Explain what you did, and kind of what kind of inclined you to jump into the Bahamas for 6 weeks.
Okay, so one afternoon, I was actually on my way home from church, scrolling through TikTok, and I saw this TikTok that was like, this is your sign to do a semester abroad. And then I kind of did some more digging into it, and hers was in Colorado, and her pictures looked so cool, and I was like, I just need to do this. I have to. And then I kept clicking on links, and there's this one called the Island School. It's like, okay, this is a little sketch, but if my parents are willing to send me off, like, I'll go. Like, might as well. So then I did the application process. It took me a couple months. I was already behind everyone else in the game because, like, typically people look forward to this, like, their entire lives. Like, it's something that, like, their family members have done. And then, like, it's only been around for, I think, 25 years, but it's, like.
Oh, so it's new.
Yeah, so their older siblings and stuff have done it. And then they're just, like, their school will send them off to it and stuff. But I personally didn't know anyone that had gone. And I'm the second girl from Arizona to ever go.
Come on.
So I did the application process, did everything, got it all turned in. I was so excited. I would not stop talking about it for months. You can ask all of my friends.
Yeah.
And then I actually got waitlisted, and I was like heartbroken. I was so sad. And then I decided to give it another shot and do the whole process all over again. And it was really difficult, but I knew how to like change my things to make it a little better. And then I got in. But this time, instead of it being for the 5-month program, it was just the summer, which
Okay.
I say just as if it's not.
Sure.
Cool. But it was just 42 days. So
Sure.
I spent 42 days in Cape Eleuthera this summer,
Okay.
which is, there's Nassau, well, there's the Bahamas, and then there's Nassau, and then there's a smaller island off to the right of it, which is called Eleuthera, and it's kind of shaped like a whale tail, and we were like on the very point of the whale tail yeah. So I lived there for the past 6 weeks. Well, not this past 6 weeks,
Sure.
but yeah, the summer.
Okay. So you took a plane, obviously, over there. And how many people were part of your program for 6 weeks?
So there was 56 other kids from all over the world. So, or not, well, kind of the world. So there was a girl from Singapore, there was a girl from Hong Kong, and then
So all over the world.
yeah, all over the and
Literally.
Uganda. But they go
Yeah.
to they go to boarding school in like Connecticut and Massachusetts and stuff
Okay.
like that. So all the kids go to school in the United States. I was the only one from Arizona, like I said. Some of my best friends live in the Bay Area, and then my other best friends live in like Connecticut, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So we all flew there, and we met in the airport. So we all met up, and we were sitting in this big circle on the floor, and we're like, okay, this is our next 6 week. Like, these are going to be my best friends soon, but it's
It was all girls.
no, it was girls and guys. So there was
Nice.
34 girls and there was 22 guys.
Wow.
So the ratio was kind of off, but the boys they warmed up to us
Sure.
quickly. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So what were your emotions like?
I was so excited to go. I would not shut up about it. Like, this was all I could talk about ever. I was like, I'm packing for this. Like, I have to get this. Like, my mom was like, oh my gosh, we get it. You're going. Like, okay, like rub it in some more, whatever.
Sure.
So I got there and I was super excited. Like, I wasn't really thinking like, oh, I have to turn my phone in because I already had accepted it the past however many weeks I was thinking about it. But we fly into Governor's Harbor, and then we're there, and they take our phones and they put it in a little bag. So they take our passport and our phone, and they put it in a little Ziploc bag, and they just take it.
You don't
and
see it again.
We don't see it again the whole 6 weeks. So we actually. So they said that we had phone time before we left, so we thought we got like our cell phone for like once a week, but no, we had a landline that we could call our parents on one time a week for 20 minutes.
So how was that like? I mean, most of us grow up in environments where we have a phone attached to us at all times. What was that like for it to be taken away from you?
It was so nice.
Yeah.
I was honestly so excited for that part because you just bond so much deeper with everyone. It's like you can have not saying you can't have actual conversations with phones. It's just a lot easier when there's no distractions. There's nothing like, because you kind of just forget that like there's things going on back home. Sure. It's like, oh, life that's just is going on. Like I'm here in the Bahamas right now. No phone. Like it's so nice. You're so disconnected. You're just in the moment. And I feel like I made really, really deep friendships in such a quick amount of time. Good. It felt like I'd known those kids for years, and we'd only known each other for like 15 days at that point by the time we got really close. So if you ever have the opportunity to like ditch your phone, take it. Do it. Ditch your phone.
Take the advice. All right, so you're there for, let's say, the first 3 weeks. What were the first 3 weeks like, if you could summarize it from your perspective?
First 3 weeks, well, the first like week was just like syllabus stuff like that, like intro, just like kind of your regular first week of school stuff. And then it was just kind of getting to know each other. We'd spent a lot of time on the beach. So how the campus was set up, it was like there was a dorm here, like on the left and the right, and then on the right side of our girls' dorm, there was a beach. So the beach was free time, and you could go whenever you wanted. It was like you just had hours a day to go to the beach during the first like 3 weeks. So we spent a lot of time playing spike ball tournaments, volleyball, football, every game you could possibly think of. We even did Oklahoma drills, which we were not supposed to do.
Oklahoma drills? What's that?
The football drill where you lay on your back and then you tackle each other.
So you guys were hit sticking each other.
Yeah, we were doing that. The next 3 weeks, so we had 3 classes. One of them was marine ecology. The next one was sustainable systems. And then our last one was down island trip. So the whole school is split up into 3 different, it's called family groups. Okay. So there was, I think, 17 kids in each family group. So the family group that you get is like your class group. Those are your schoolmates. Those are your ride or dies. So you stick with them pretty much the whole time. So my first class was sustainable systems. It's hard to get out. But so we got to spend a lot of time in like the campus recycling center and like learning kind of about how different systems work and where our food comes from. And we got to spend a lot of time on the farm and in the aquaponics system. So that was my least favorite class of the 3. It was still good, but it was nothing compared to my next one, which was the down island trip. So we all loaded into a van for 6 days. There were 17 of us in 2 vans. We got a little dry bag where we could put like 2 outfits in. We didn't get to bring deodorant. We didn't get to bring many toiletries. It was just like toothbrush, toothpaste. The clothes you were wearing, 1 change of clothes, and just like you just packed in a van and you got to spend time with each other for 6 days. After we spent some time on Harbor Island, we went to this other little settlement called Spanish Wells, which is kind of like Harbor Island. It's just really small, and that's like where the Bahamas was kind of started. It was the first place that they like touched down basically. And then after that, that's when they threw us into our solo. Yeah. So we wake up one morning in a campsite fully just like with our friends and everything, and they drive us down this really long narrow road, and we have no idea where we are. We don't know where we are on the island. We don't know what time it is because they took our watches.
Did they tell you?
They didn't tell us.
They didn't tell you they were going to drop you off?
No. We knew this.
Okay.
So everyone knew going into it was going to happen, but we kind of didn't know the full extent of it because it was supposed to be a surprise. So they took our watches. We had no idea what time it was. We had no idea, like, anything. We didn't know where we were. No phones. Like, once again, no communication with anyone.
It's cut off.
Yeah, we hadn't seen or talked to our friends back on campus in 4 days at this point. We're stinky. We haven't showered. We've been in the ocean for, like, a long time. And then, so we get to this beach, and we think that we're able to, like, bring all of the stuff that we took on the trip with us, but we weren't. They gave us a little tiny dry bag where we could take our place book, which I'll get to this in a minute.
Okay, yeah.
We could take our notebook, and we could take 1 change of clothes. Actually, no. We could take the clothes that were on our body.
Okay.
So you had the clothes that were on your body. You had a toothbrush, toothpaste, a yoga mat. You had a tarp, these 2 really heavy water bags. Like, they were kind of like camelbacks, but like the tough version of them.
Sure.
So they were really heavy and really big. And then they gave us a bag of food. They gave us that, and we packed up our stuff, and then we had to take a vow of silence. So we're on this beach. Everyone has their stuff packed up. It's pouring rain at this point also.
Wow.
All of us had our Tivas on for like 4 days. We had the worst blisters ever. We have to now walk this mile down the beach in pouring rain in silence, carrying all of our stuff. So they dropped us off on the beach, and how the island is set up, it's kind of just like, there was just a beach that kind of curved around, and it was about a mile long.
Sure.
So our advisors camped out on one side of the beach, and then we all took off in a pack, and they would point at you, so you'd just be walking in silence, and she would point at you and just say, She wouldn't say anything. She'd just be like, you're there, basically. So no one knew when they were getting called off to go. And I ended up being the farthest one down the beach. So I had the longest walk down the beach with all of my stuff. I was literally so miserable. I was like, I just want to get there. My feet were like bleeding because the sand and the tivas and the pouring rain and everything. It was not good. And we were all just like mad because we didn't have a backpack or anything to carry. We were just carrying all the stuff in our hands. I get to my spot. I'm at the very end of the beach. I'm probably 500 feet away from the closest person. I can't talk to them. I can kind of see people. I can kind of make them out. Everyone else could kind of see each other pretty well, but I was on like the rounded part where it kind of goes around the corner. So I felt like I was fully secluded for 2 days, which was crazy. So I just like laid out my tarp. I set up my stuff. Everyone kind of made shelters, but I didn't for some reason. And then I just sat down and accepted
where you were at.
This is my spot. 2 days. I had no idea what to do. Literally no idea. So I sat on the beach. I think I wrote in, this is my place book. This was kind of our like, this is what we did instead of like texting basically. So anything you wanted to think or tell your friends, just like a diary. So I wrote, I think 18 pages in this over those 2 days.
Wow.
I don't really know what I wrote. I can go back and read it later. But like, I just was writing away, and the time honestly went by so slow.
Really?
It was the longest 2 days of my life.
So most of us don't ever get time like that where it's just like quiet, alone, like just like legit like quietness. You know, that we always like with the business of life, we're always doing something. Like, was it hard for you to be in silence, or was it like refreshing, or like, and obviously you grew up in like Christian background, like your mom is a Christian and you have brothers and you've grown up in like the youth ministry. Like, did you have any like moments where it was just like you've had like interactions with the living God, or like what was that like for you from that like kind of perspective?
It was actually really hard to be like in silence, completely alone, like on that beach, because I kind of talked about this there. We had a day where we could like do a reflection on what we really learned, and we could share it with the whole school. So my reflection was kind of about how I'd spent the last couple years like trying to pack my schedule like so tight and just like kind of keep myself busy at all times. So then when I got thrown just like on that beach alone, I was like, this is my circuit. I just have to accept it. Like there's nowhere else I'm supposed to be besides here right now. Like no one, like there's really like, you're just there. I know I keep saying that, but you're just there. Like, so I reflected on that a lot and was just kind of, I learned to be content with where I was at and what I was doing, which is really good. So now I feel like I'm not like consistently looking for the next best thing or like anything like that. But when I was alone on the beach, I tried to pray a lot. I genuinely did, because it was hard. Like, like it was really hard. So I would pray a lot. I didn't really have any encounters, I would say. I think the encounter in itself was just like, you're sitting here in God's creation. Like you can look at, I was just like,
that's good.
It's so cool to just see everything. Like there was these 2 rocks that were floating way out in the, not floating, but you know what I mean? They were like way out in the distance. And I was kind of looking at that. I was like, that's super cool. Like I was just taking in my surroundings really. And just, so that in itself was an encounter, but not necessarily in like the way that you would think.
All right. So you were on a beach for 2 days, nothing to do but your mind and thoughts, and to pray, like you said. How would you explain like God's creation? Just saying like the things he created, the beach. I mean, I gotta imagine there's like critters and animals and sea life. You know, like what was that like for you, and how would you explain like just nature?
Okay, so one of my closest encounters over this little solo with a creature, one of God's creations, was I actually woke up with a crab stuck in my hair.
Oh wow!
The most stressful thing ever. You can't even sleep in peace. Like,
was it a big one?
It was like a good sized crab.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you cook it? Did you eat it? Like
we couldn't kill any.
Oh, you couldn't.
We weren't supposed
I was
to
like,
kill
I thought
anything.
this was like woman versus
like,
survival moment or something.
No, we couldn't kill anything, so I didn't do that. But other than that, just that God's creation is there, and you're like fully aware of it, and it's like, I feel like you never really take the time to be like, oh my gosh, like God made this mountain right here, or this, like the ocean, like. It just went on. Like, there was no end. I was just looking at them like, this is crazy. Because what else do I have to think about? What else do I have to do? Like, I was just thinking, like, I never have time to, like, look that close at things. So taking a deeper look at God's creation was really cool. And it made me more observant of things back home. So, like small details that I never really paid attention to, I'm, like, realizing now. I'm like, I didn't know that was there before. I didn't, because you just look. I don't know.
Yeah. So real quick, I wanted to touch base on your journal. So I think it'd be really cool to kind of see the first page and then the kind of the last page. And not that there's any meaning or might not be anything super special, but do you mind just sharing like that first page and kind of what your thoughts was that kind of leading up to it, and then your last day as you're leaving?
Okay, so my first day, I wrote, Day 1, Island School, Summer 2022. It feels so surreal. No way am I actually here right now. I could not be happier for the next few weeks to come. So excited to meet all these new friends. I love it so much already, but I'm missing people at home a little extra right now. Lots of anxiety about going home and friends back home. And then my last day is, let's see this.
You wrote a lot in that book, too.
I wrote it's full. It is literally exploding.
Yeah.
The last date just says day 42. Last day as an Island School student. Not sure how I'm feeling right now. T-minus 2 hours until we all leave campus. I'm so sad about it. I don't even know what to do right now. Today we bike/ran to High Rock and jumped, and then lunch and a deep clean and packing and dinner. Feeling a million emotions. I need to shower right now. I feel so musty and stinky. Which I wrote about our little trip to High Rock, which is this cliff jump spot, because on the first day, that was the first thing that we did with everyone, was run to this spot. And then it was a full circle moment, and it really made us like realize like, oh, we're going home, because we started out like that and then we ended like that. So it was really emotional. We all stood there and we were like crying and hugging. It was like really sad, but
yeah, you wish you could stay there longer.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Did coming back scare you at all as far as like normal life? Was there anything in particular that you're like, I really don't want to like go back home to that, you know?
Okay, so when they were there, they prepped us a lot for like going back home and what it's gonna look like and what it's gonna feel like. And we all kind of, not that we didn't take it seriously, but we kind of just didn't realize that like they're actually really trying to help us here. Like we didn't think it would be that hard to come back, and it was really hard. Like they say that like no one's gonna know the experience that you had, and I'm like, it can't be that hard to explain. Like like I was just here for 42 days. Like there's no true way to explain to someone that didn't go there like the experiences that I went through.
Yeah.
So they were kind of teaching us how to talk about that. But then when I came back, I just forgot everything they taught us, and I was like,
really?
I'm like, I don't even know what to say. Like I came back to church that Sunday morning, and I was very overwhelmed, super anxious, because I just lived there with 56 other kids for that long. And I was like, that was my group. Like we all knew each other so well. And then coming back, and it was just like, what did you do this summer? What did you do? Like, how was it? I'm like, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, I felt like I told the same story a million times, but there's really no way to put into words, like, the change that...
The experience.
The experience and the change that happened this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people asking after they see this podcast. They're going to want to hear little details about your trip. But we're so grateful that you came on the podcast. And, yeah, I really hope that like this experience is something that God really speaks to you in the coming weeks, and that you hear from him, and that, yeah, maybe you've learned something special from your time in Hawaii. So thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thanks,
guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time on What's It Like.